Matthew 14:26-27. It's one of my favorite passages of scripture, and it's during the time where Jesus is walking on the water. Let's read it together. Matthew 14:26-27 says, when the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified, and in their fear they cried out, "It is a ghost." But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Do not be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." Let me ask you today, what is the fear you're facing that causes anxiety, that causes you to worry, that convinces you to take matters into your own hands? I pray today that Jesus will speak into that fear. But more than that, I pray that you will allow Jesus to speak into that fear. Now, I don't know what particular fear it is that you are facing or will be facing, but what I do know is that if you would be willing to allow him to, Jesus can and will speak into it. I want you to think about the disciples that are in this passage. They are facing a storm like none other they have ever faced before. Now, these men are seasoned fishermen. They have seen storms that have been like this, but never one that has caused them so much fear and anxiety. And Jesus comes to them after a session of private prayer. And what is their response? There's one of fear. There is saying that it is a ghost, and they are terrified in the midst of this storm. And what is Jesus' first response to them? Do not be afraid. I always find it interesting in this passage that Jesus speaks to their fear before he ever reminds them of their presence. And if you will allow him today, I pray that you will allow him to speak into your fear. If you are willing to acknowledge it and assume the position of humility, allowing him to speak to you and to your fear. Acknowledge the fear that you are facing today. Assume a position of humility that you be able to hear his words, and then accept the truths of his words today. Take courage. Do not be afraid. I am here. May this encourage you today.